Hello, everybody, and welcome back to podcast number 78 of The Real Estate Show. And I'm Cherise Selley, and with me is a very special friend, a brother. In fact, somebody recently said, "Is he really your brother?" And I almost said yes. And I would just love to introduce everybody to Benjamin Day, Ben Day, Benny Moo, however you want to say it.
Hello.
Ben, I am so happy to have you here. He is my managing broker now. We've switched roles.
It's so fun putting the band back together. We have like multiple lead singers happening now.
Can you believe it?
It's awesome.
Well, it has been nothing but an honor to come back together and to come back together in an elevated way.
Yeah. It's been a pretty incredible 5 weeks having you back around and seeing you just butterfly in so elegantly with the community that we have in our office. Like it's a really beautiful thing to see all of these new friendships germinating, to see people sharpening their craft at the same time. But then, they're at lunch for 2 hours, all of
So
those sorts
true.
of things
Yes.
that are just happening. So, we've been open as an office for 3+ years. But I don't think that we've had just the enthusiasm and the level of community that's happening. That's just been there for the last 5 weeks.
Wow.
We're just at a different level.
Well, Ben, but you started all of this.
Well,
You created the culture and the
truth
community.
is, Cherise, Robert Franklin started all of this. If we really want to go origin
are we
story.
really going
Yes.
back that far? I don't even
Yes.
remember this name. Okay, how in the heck can you remember Robert Franklin?
So Robert Franklin was the Birdman of Alcatraz, which is another fun part of the story. But to talk about the origin story of how we really got to know each other.
Yeah,
2010, Great Recession, bad market,
right.
really bad market, really not a good time to be selling a luxury home. And you and I are getting inquiries, unbeknownst to each other, at different real estate companies from an individual who wants to buy a house if they'll do an energy audit. But he will not even look at the house unless they'll do an energy audit.
I cannot believe you remember this level of detail, but how can you? How can you not?
Because I was more wrapped around the axle than you were. That's why I remember it.
An energy audit. I mean,
Correct.
really.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep going.
So he was describing all these things like these are the wave of the future. Everyone's going to have to do energy audits if your houses are too big. And I am diligently previewing properties and interviewing realtors to try and get to go and see a property for them. The only person who's willing to play ball is Stuart Scott.
Oh my gosh.
It's Stuart. And the house was on Child. I even remember that house. It was one of my favorite houses.
Wow.
Stu's like, Ben, whatever you need to do, we'll make this thing happen. And I, in a panic attack the night before I'm supposed to go do this, basically have an anxiety attack. And I get very, very sick. I'm sleeping down the basement. And I wake up, I go to bed way early, and it's like 8:30. And I wake up and figure out, wait a minute, this guy's a fraudster. He's saying that it's his brother who runs the energy audit company. He's the same guy. He's one and the same. I can't go and do this, commit somebody else's seller with no contract to like $2,000
Oh my gosh.
on some craziness. And I call the guy and call it off, get his voicemail. When I wake up in the morning, there's like 11 voicemails from this guy that are all filled with expletives. And he's going to call Dora and do all these sorts of things. And of course, we never hear from the guy again. And I'm shaken. I call it off with Stuart, couldn't reach Stuart. So I call Eric Scott. Eric, probably one of my first phone calls with Eric that I ever have, who's now at Live Sotheby's also. And Eric, calls the old man, tells him that it's going to be, it's not happening. In the morning, we wake up and we debrief it. And it was one of my favorite conversations with Stu. Stuart calls at 9:30. I'm like, oh gosh,
That doesn't happen.
So bad. Like Stuart calls me.
Right.
So I'm like, he's got little boy Ben in the ringer. That's going to happen. Ben, it's Stuart. And this is the Star Wars phrase that I'll never forget. It was like Obi-Wan Kenobi on the other line. And Stu goes, when you've met as many scoundrels and scalawags as I have been, nothing ever surprises you. And I wrote down scoundrels and scalawags, and I will never forget that. And he talked about, in this time in 2010, like the market was just terrible.
Exactly.
And he told stories about, these are really Stuart's stories that were here, but he regaled me with stories of places that he'd been wrapped around the axle by people who tried to go get these games of trust to go and do things. And so I pause and I go back and start doing my email history with this guy. And there's an email that there's 4 people that are on, and you and I are 2 of them.
Oh, that's incredible.
This is like September of 2010.
Okay.
And I call you, and I get Gordon, and Gordon answers the phone and goes, Ben, I'll have Charisse call you back. So you call back, and your line is, why are you talking smack about my friend Robert Franklin? What do you know?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I love her. Like, it's immediately this place where it's like everyone's so confused, and it's like someone's cracked the code on what's going on. I'm looking through it. There's commercial realtors that are on this list that are prominent. Like there's stuff on Forge and List and foreclosed buildings everywhere that this guy wants to go do energy audits on. And you and I removed ourselves from that circle of madness. Yeah. And 45 days later, Hannah and I were over at Selley Group in the fall of 2010.
Oh my gosh.
And that is how you and I got to get to know each other.
So a scoundrel and a scallywag brought you to Selley Group.
Right.
Because that's incredible, Ben. I don't think I've had the story broken down in that way.
Right. And the fact that Stuart's involved and that's Eric's incredible. Involved.
So many
all
people.
These places. And like, you can get, if you want to get Dan Allender involved in his favorite word, which is diabolos, which if you break down the Greek means through, scattering.
Yes.
Like that's what this guy is trying to do, is just blow and splinter people apart.
Oh, Ben.
And you and I both had these sorts of moments of clarity going, hold on, we're about to go into orbit.
Right.
Where we don't want to go.
Right.
How do we sort of find our feet here and get back together? And, fall of 2010, that's how you and I got to know each other. Well, it was also out of that this same story helped Eric and I develop a friendship.
I love that.
Because of this one crazy story.
Right.
Where it was just sort of like, we didn't get into that crazy game of trust that was there. And so that relationship germinated out of the same crazy story.
Authentic trust developed out of the game.
Right.
And I love that because so many people, and the fact that you expressed the anxiety portion of this very candidly, because that's also where we have shared so much in our stories of carrying the deal, carrying all of that. Right. And the beauty, Ben, of watching the development as a leader in your life. You have grown, not just, so many people.
How much am I blushing on the camera right now? Is the beard covering up some of that?
Really a lot. I don't think the makeup is covering it right now. But the cool thing is, honestly, and I mean this because so many people think of you as a statistician, like knowing everything about the, and you do, but the thing is.
The Benny Moo alter ego.
It is. But the shepherd in you is what shines. And the way that you're a storyteller through the experience. And case in point, what you just did. It's amazing. And, even before that 2010 time, I was already endeared to you, and you may not have known it because we shared an assistant at one time.
Yes.
Way before that.
Oh, are we going there?
We're going there. And
meow.
Yeah, there we go. See? And so that time, yes.
And the meow has to do with the fact that I was accused of killing a cat in one of your listings.
So that was actually the first interaction.
That was our first interaction.
You cat killer.
The cat killer Ben Day.
What do you have against felines anyway?
I now own 2 of them.
You're making up for it, right?
That's right.
But yeah, literally, was that a phone call from, was it me or my assistant that said?
Trista was the one who meowed.
Yeah.
She was the one who's like, we have found the cat. The cat has been accounted for. The children were naughty. That's all that I remember. So you'd know better access to what was happening, but the kids weren't supposed to be home or something like that.
It's incredible.
And then they split out the back door, and I was there for the showing, and They stashed a cat in a closet, and the poor cat was stuck in there for 2 days or something like that.
That's true. It's so sad for the cat. But the funny part, I mean, to me, the thing I remember the most is that Trista said, you have to know this guy, Ben Day.
Yeah.
Because you two are so much alike. And I mean, I don't know how. I can't do a spreadsheet to save my life, but somehow we have this wiring of that just has always been there. And she said, you have to know him.
Well, okay. So when we were a month ago, we were up at dinner after the ninja dinner that was in Denver.
Right.
And we did 4 Ps. And what's your P?
Peace.
Same.
Yes.
That's where it comes from.
Right.
And so it's the contextualist,
yes.
right?
Yep.
We see all of the axles spinning that are out there. And sometimes those axles are really attractive. And for me, like I know I can magnetically go to them and sometimes get wrapped around them. But it's also this part that sees all of the other things that are out there.
That's right.
And our job is to be, in the words of Ninja Selling, a step down transformer.
I love
so that other people can think.
Truly.
And so the data is a part of it. The emotions are a part of it. The motivation's a part of it. The psychology is a part of it. Like it's the capacity to see and actually get to the real meat that's in someone's life that you and I can see. And sometimes that can be too much of a good thing for you and I.
Right.
Because you when someone else, you carry it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so there is a part for healthy boundaries in a person's life like you and I. And that is a part of the journey that both you and I are on, which is actually planning so that we can also for ourselves be contextualist and be editors of our own lives.
I love it.
To be able to look at them.
And I love that peace quadrant because I've found over the years when I've lied to myself, when the false self comes up, when that power person comes up that's not really who I am deep in my core, the peace part, the power is in the peace.
Yeah.
And I feel that connecting with you again, as you said, the band is back.
Yeah.
It's really about coming together, elevating the business, elevating the climate of real estate through a holistic journey with people.
Yeah.
And having a process, because Sotheby's creates a process. They have all the bandwidth, and it's a global bandwidth. So everything that we stand for is there because of who we are. And then this incredible support of the company, of the 14 people in a marketing department. But all of this is not outside of the scope of that holistic part of the process.
Right.
And process is key. Clarity is key. For people who are in a very unclear market, I think we can bring a lot of clarity and a lot of life to them.
Well, and then, one of the things that we say, and this is one of the roles that I've had in the last 3.5 years, we keep making this reference to Ninja Selling. And most, in my personal opinion, most real estate selling systems are gross.
Right.
I mean, the last thing a consumer wants to hear is about a realtor selling system.
And that turns into, hey, I'm just part of a transaction, transactional velocity.
Exactly. It's a dollar unit assigned to the people that someone's in relationship with, which is gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But you can look at Ninja Selling and you can find parenting with love and logic.
Right.
That's in the midst of it. You can look at Ninja Selling and you can find nonviolent communication. You can look at Ninja Selling and you can find the big red book and you can find ACA that's actually in there. It is literally a therapeutic practice.
I agree with that.
If you're looking at it. If you look at where Ninja Selling actually is. I mean, it literally, for me, it transformed my life because I thought that I was a ninja for 11 years. But what I associated to it was kicking butt and people will refer you.
Yes.
And that is an other-centered vehicle. But once when I joined Live Sotheby's in 2018, I realized it had far more to do with who I was associating myself with.
Yes.
And my own ego's subordination to a system that I had to go and routinize. And it took me over a year to go and do that, to actually go and systematize myself because my ego wanted to be the star of every interaction that was there. And for me, it was like, that is not serving the consumer.
No.
It was making it up differently every single time. And whether or not you have a system, you have a system.
That's so true.
And so
just like not making a decision is a decision.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Exactly. And so my system that I had was to make it up and DIY every single thing.
Yes.
And I did that somehow for 19 years in this profession. And when I joined Live, they said, guess what? You don't have that choice anymore. We're taking that off your plate. And I fought it, but they kept fighting me back and saying, we're taking this off your plate. We're going to take this off your plate. We're going to take this off your plate. And in my journey with that, I got to become a managing broker. And as a managing broker, every one of the managing broker team in Colorado has gone through a 3-year ninja coaching program where we are all certified ninja managers. So my management job is far more about coaching individuals like you.
Yeah.
It's far more about feeding into your life and helping you see clearly that's actually there so that you have true partnership.
Absolutely.
So that you have a real companion in your journey. It's not just deal doctoring stuff, and it's not dollar units that are actually there. It has more to do with managing the relationship activities and the right balance and flow of what those things look like.
And Ben, I'm the recipient already.
Good to hear. 5 weeks and something sticking. Good.
I mean, I'm already there.
Yeah.
And it's made a tremendous difference.
So question to you.
Yeah.
I won't take over, promise.
Well, go ahead.
One thing that stood out for you. What's one of the things that has stood out in the last 5 weeks in this fire hose of things that you've gone through? I mean, you join a new company where we've got all this different language and all these different systems that are there. You jump both feet in and do a 4-day ninja selling installation. Yes. You meet and you have 40 new friends of people that are around
100%.
Around the Front Range that are like, she is on my short list that's actually there.
Right.
I mean, what are some of the things that are life-giving and generative for you right now?
Well, I mean, there's so many things to say about Ninja itself.
Okay.
But I would say even beyond that, the true thing that has been resounding in my life for 2023 is that we heal in community. Ben, I had been working on the edge of my kitchen island since COVID. I'd been running a brokerage that I love, and I love the people, and I'm so glad that Shauna and Judy joined, and they're a part of Sotheby's. I'm so glad that we have Rachel Dayspring, my licensed assistant who has put up with me for 15 years. But I will say this, what have I really learned? We heal in community, and community is so much better because through that, it's an outpouring, it's an overflow. There is an abundance mindset through the scarcity of what people are perceiving the market to be. The abundance is out of relationship. The abundance is helping to have, as you were mentioning, systematizing things. It's not about putting people into a system. It's about having a system that works for the people. Well, and I love the system that I really see is working because staying disciplined with the smallest nuances of things is leading to big results already. And it's opening up the door to the relational capital because at the end of the day, that's all we want. I mean, that's all really that we have are the relationships that we carry. And the excellence of relationship by helping people get clarity and make great decisions. It's not about being separate. And as you said, I think when we are in a situation where we've been traumatized or we've had to be the hyper sustainers or producers or whatever the pressure, internal pressure we run, and ego does abound, as you mentioned, it gets in the way. So for me, I've become a student again.
Katie Williams, who you got the pleasure of doing ninja selling with when Eric and I met with her.
That fireball.
Oh my gosh. Katie is like a mentor to I don't know how many thousands of people that are around there.
Yeah.
But, we're talking and having all the people that we know that are in common. I mean, she knows Eric's uncle and stuff like that. She steps away and she goes, boys, if this is about your egos, let's just order some food and keep talking about the people that we know. But unless this is about systematizing your lives and working in a brokerage-led company, I don't think we need to talk about Sotheby's any further.
Wow.
And she just had this throwdown that was there. And Eric kicks me under the table, literally kicks me in the shins. Like, that's why we're here.
Wake up.
Because both of us were exhausted
Yeah.
from our own egos. Our egos were completely dominating where we were running with.
Yeah.
And one of the lines that we shared was that we needed space to be able to breathe and think.
Yes.
Because our ego was always looking at new projects. It was
Right.
always looking to add.
Right.
And so if you're looking at like the profit and loss statement of how a work was going, like the projects that were there was always more. There wasn't a no list.
I get that.
And so to me in Ninja, one of the most valuable things is the no list.
I love it.
The stop doings.
We talked about this before, and you were working on that no list.
Yeah.
And now I love it because what I heard from you recently was you flipped the yes list in your life. So you worked on the no so you could actually have true yeses.
Right.
And you're being authentic to your yeses.
Right.
I think we all could learn from that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a process of always learning.
Yes.
You know, you've got the mastery quote that's right here. And mastery doesn't ever believe in the best. I mean, it doesn't believe that the ego wants to gravitate towards the number one-ing.
Right.
And mastery says it's always a process. There's always a new day that's actually out there. And it's always about better. That you can go and digest a transaction, go, wow, I really have gotten good at what this business is in real estate.
So true.
And you know, I've I've had those moments where I've thought, you know, even recently that I was absolutely on the top of my game, only to have my game be reintroduced back up to me and show like, okay, there are some significant things that could be done better that are actually there. And so much of it has to do with the craft of listening.
Yes.
You know, who's actually the one who's speaking and who's the one that's actually hearing what's actually there.
I love it, Ben. That's so good. Truly, you are now a ninja master.
Well,
and
it's a craft.
I have something that I would like to present to you.
Okay.
To represent your mastery.
Okay.
One moment.
Oh, fantastic.
So, Ninja Master.
Fantastic.
This represents the mastery.
Oh, wow.
And the change of the guard.
What's so nice is that my 20-year-old's going to be jealous of my ninja swords.
See, there you go.
I mean, he's never had a pair of them. He's always had only one.
You can wear this, you know, on your back.
This is fantastic.
Isn't
Can I
it
show
cool?
this?
Totally.
I mean, can you see
Please.
this over here?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
This is fantastic.
You are it's an early Christmas present. It's a thank you, Ben. This is, we're reunited and it's pretty amazing.
This is the best.
And here,
and they actually, they come out too,
they do,
which is really good.
I mean, like, I know you're going to have fun with this.
Yeah, this is prominently going in the new office location.
Good.
So that's going to be awesome.
Just don't kill the cat with it, okay?
I will not kill the cat with it.
But the truth is, here's...
thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want to be on camera not saying thank you for a gift given.
You are so welcome.
It's an awesome
And thank
gift.
you, Ben, because I have to say, I trust you with the story of my life's journey, the business journey, and all the changes that have been ahead. You have been patient. You have been a gentleman. You've waited, and you've waited, and you gave without expectation of anything in return for a lot of years.
Well, it's
You invited me to be a part of this journey when you made the jump. And I'm a stubborn Hungarian, the last Hungarian standing. Like, I don't know. I really, and honestly, Selley Group has had a beautiful run. It truly was a place of safe harbor, in your words, and it was even for me. But there's a time where, you know, it's not about just being a small solo thing. And what we did, I stood for excellence with Selley Group, but truly, what's best for the client?
Yeah.
And I made that decision about not just what is going to fill my cup, but what is going to stand and represent excellence and luxury to the heart of the client. And luxury is not about the dollar value of the home. It's about the experience that they will have.
Well, service is what you do to someone. Hospitality is how you make them feel.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Yes.
Oh, Bobby Stuckey said it, the owner of Frasca. So that was a moment that I'll never forget 3 years ago when he was a guest speaker that we had. But the hospitalian, Bobby Stuckey, likes to say that hospitality is how you make someone feel.
Yeah.
And that starts with who you surround yourself with. So it's a real treasure having you join this group to raise the bar yet again for what we're getting to have fun with here in Colorado Springs.
We are doing this locally.
Yep.
And we are a global real estate group.
Very much so.
And so I can't wait to see where this goes.
Awesome stuff.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
on
you.
the show, Ben.